would talk to my dad in the car, and we would, because mainly what we would talk about was politics.
Yeah.
And I would say, because I was always kind of like, is it the right thing though, Dad? Like, should maybe we just like leave at some point?
And he like looks at you and he's like, we could leave if we were fucking pussies, but we're Capaludos. We finished the job. This episode is sponsored by Remedical. Hey, veterans. Ever feel like navigating the VA disability claims process is like trying to march in quicksand? I don't know how much you know about quicksand. It's not great to march through. Well, here's some good news. Remedical, that's Romeo Echo Echo Medical, is here to support you as you march right out of that mess, and you can keep moving forward. Whether it's a first-time claim or an increase in your existing status, Remedical connects you with independent providers who can document your symptoms with the precision of a sniper. Only Carlos Hathcock is a better sniper than them. They provide the accurate and thorough medical evidence you need to support your VA claim. With a network of experienced physicians, Remedical has helped over 75,000 veterans. Can you believe that, Blas? 75,000 veterans.
That's a big number.
That's a big number, but we're going to blow right past it. They'll explain all your options before you even think about paying anything. No more mystery, just clarity and competence. At the After Action podcast, we're not just fans of Remedical, we're customers too. Blas, what's it like working with Remedical?
Listen, Zach, I'm not going to lie. When you presented the option of going to Remedical, I was super skeptical, man. I was already done with the VA process. They threw me through the ringer, had me waiting for who knows how long. Anywhere from 6 to 12 months is what I experienced. I know there are veterans out there who have probably experienced a lot longer. When you had mentioned Remedical, like I said, I was skeptical. I gave them a call, though. Like you said, free consultation. I had nothing left to lose. I picked up the phone, gave them a call, told them exactly what I was going through and the troubles that I was experiencing. They said, no problem. Just send us over your medical records. We'll take a look at them. And if we can help you, we'll reach back out. Not even 24 hours later, I got a phone call telling me that my ratings were not sufficient to what the standard actually was, and that if I wanted to move forward, they'd be glad to help me. Almost 12 months later, I finally got my rating back from the VA, where I couldn't be more happy with the results. If you're out there and you're struggling and you're sick of running through the VA process and you're tired of getting to run around, go to Remedical. I promise you they'll help you and they'll guide you through the process with no pressure and get you the rating you deserve.
I couldn't think of a better personal endorsement than that right there. I got to watch him go through the process myself, and it has been a life-changing outcome for him and his family. Don't settle for frustration or unfavorable decisions. Check out the link in the description for a free consultation and $200 off Remedical services. It's time to get what you deserve. Hey guys, Veteran with a Sign here, and I've got something game-changing to share with you. If you're a protector, a parent, or just someone who wants to be ready for whatever life throws at you, this is for you. The USCCA just dropped an unbelievable deal on self-defense training that you can't afford to miss. Here's the scoop. They've launched a new site where you can go sign up for over 1,600 in-person self-defense courses nationwide. And the kicker? They're 100% free through the end of the year. That's right, no strings attached. This is your chance to learn real-world self-defense skills from experienced instructors in your own community. Whether it's building a home protection plan, mastering situational awareness, or diving deep into the laws of self-defense, these expert-led classes are designed to give you the confidence and tools to protect yourself and your loved ones. Don't wait. Go to uscca.com/veteranwithasign right now. Find a course near you and sign up today. Opportunities like this don't come around often, and spots will fill up fast. Take action now, invest in your safety, and level up your skills. That's uscca.com/veteranwithasign to get started today. And welcome to another special edition of the After Action podcast. Let's be honest, they're all special because we have so many incredible people to stop by. But it's really easy when you live in a great place known as Nashville, Tennessee. Shout out to Music City. But that's not why we're here. We're here because New Jersey's finest son, the one, the only, the ruler of Cappy Army, Chris Cappy is here today. thank you for joining us on the After Action Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. You were just saying how New Jersey is your favorite state in the entire union.
Yeah, that's what I said. The North is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just a quick reminder, Buffalo Public Schools, you're a failure.
They did let us down. They really did.
They continue.
I was telling Rich, I was like, with the school, I don't know what the school system is like here, but the school that I grew up in, we had like 3 teachers get, like reassigned, where one day they're teaching from like my middle school.
Okay.
And then they're gone. And then years down the road, you hear, oh, they were let go because they were exchanging notes with like students. But this is the podcast to talk about, right? This is
we're talking about protecting kids and how Buffalo continues to fail. So what you're telling me is that all of the Northeast needs to be wiped off the face of the earth.
Light a match at this point and just run the other way.
No complaints here. Are you in for that, boss?
I see no issue with that.
Yep.
Knowing that the way they're handling things right now, it's
no good. No, but really, like I remember this one teacher they found a kid's diary, and in the diary it was like, I love him so much and he makes me feel this way, and it turned out that they were like exchanging notes. And it's worse than the Catholic priests out there in the school districts.
That's not what we have here. I'm going to try to navigate through. I don't know what to say to that. Like, it just makes me deeply, deeply upset. I don't want to say anything that can get me sued and or be traced back to like a case. And I'm just looking at that being like, yeah, I did say that on that podcast, didn't I? No, it's tough. Hopefully by the time this comes out, everyone who is a part of the Buffalo public school system has been fired. I mean, I looked at their board. They've got more board members than Apple. Like, I don't think a public school system in Buffalo needs like 20 people.
And they all have tenure, so you cannot fire them.
You can. See, that's an illusion. That is an illusion. You can fire them. I don't care I don't even know what tenure means. I'm just saying they can be fired, and they should be. But you are right. They have tenure, and I'm sure there's some type of weird law associated with that. But that's not why you're here.
No.
But every podcast now, until the end of time, has to talk about the failure of the Buffalo public school system. You're here because I want you to teach me about you, Cappy Army, and war. But before all of that, you're just a young man in New Jersey, right?
Well, growing up on Long Island, yeah. And
that's New
my
York?
wife has pulled me out to New Jersey. It was not my choice. I was like, I can't go to New Jersey. I'm a Long Island boy.
What does that mean? Like, paint a picture for me.
So, growing up on Long Island, if that's what you're asking, it's
no, yeah, I'm dead serious.
Yeah. Long Island was like, I grew up I wouldn't say sheltered, but very middle class. Like, my dad was a conductor on the railroad for 30 years. He punched tickets
That sounds awesome.
on the Long Island Railroad. Really hardworking, good dude. Worked like the night shifts, and so I grew up, not sheltered, but also there was a lot about the world that I felt like I didn't know and understand. You could probably relate to this. You feel like there's so much out there, and it's not easy to find out the truth about things and to find out what the world is really like. And that was one of the reasons why I joined the military.
Yeah. Would you say that was common growing up in Long Island? Is that like, it strikes me as a working class town. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Mom worked for the government, and very working class. And joining the military was, I don't know, probably, I know a lot of guys in the South are more military focused, but like in Long Island, it's not like a normal thing I think it was me and one other person in my high school of like 700 people did the military. One of the guys did like West Point.
Okay.
So it's not a common path there.
So is it like, you're growing up, are you like taking a train to school or like a subway or stuff like this is?
No, this is the suburbs, Long Island.
Suburbs,
like far
Long
out,
Island.
about like an hour and a half outside of New York City.
And that's not miles. That's like just traffic, right? Isn't that the thing of like New York? Because I went recently in December, and from LaGuardia to Times Square took an hour. And I remember looking at it, it was like 10 miles.
Go the opposite direction.
Okay.
Go the other way, the way where it starts getting more rural and suburban. That's like where I'm from. Not the Nassau County. It goes like New York City, Nassau County, and then Suffolk. And I'm from Suffolk. It's all Indian names.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Suffolk Indians, is that a thing?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So that I'm from out like further east on Long Island.
Gotcha. Got you. So it sounds cool. Sounds like it's kind of like a fun place to grow up.
I liked it. Yeah, it was a good place to be brought up. Great times. I love Long Island. It's in my soul. It's a part of who I am. You know, the greatest egg sandwiches and pizza you could ever want.
Really?
That's our thing.
I'm really big on pizza. I hit a few spots. Well, one spot that Dave recommended. I say Dave like I know him. Dave Portnoy. Because me and my kids, we hit one spot that was like an 8. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was actually, you guys are doing that stuff right. I'll give you that. There's some flowers for New York, right? The pizza's pretty good.
That's the one thing that I think everyone we can agree New York pizza crushes.
Yeah, it was an 8 rated pizza, and I was like, I don't know. And then it came to the table, and I literally was like, babe, we're going back. And then there was also a cheesecake place.
Was it the one from that Diddy sent everybody to? Remember when he had that MTV show Making the Band, and he made the group members walk to go get him a cheesecake? It was like near Times Square.
What's he up to these days?
He's being sketched in a court environment. No, I think it is. It's an orange place that at Cheesecake by the Slice. It was open 24/7. Boss, will you please? It's like New York cheesecake.
I just look up
Diddy cheesecake. That sounds like a sex move.
Yeah,
might be.
Juniors.
Let me see a photo.
Juniors.
Yeah,
that's the big. Yeah.
Insanely delicious. I did not get a record deal. But it was literally in Times Square right across from our hotel. Yeah, that's it. With like the orange box and everything.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Also, I looked at my phone, like how many miles I walked. 32. Like we were all over the place. Like we were hoofing it. But like we went down Saks Fifth. Is that not Saks? Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Avenue is where all the big
shopping.
Yeah, all the expensive places are at.
We went to the Louis Vuitton store.
Jeez.
That's
can't hide money, huh?
You're the one who gave me the money. That's Ewan McGregor, not Louis Vuitton.
No, I know. I don't know why I went to that.
What was it?
What did you say? New York Fifth Street?
Fifth Street.
Look at that.
We just like literally went over there to like see it, but I do. It was just walking around doing the thing. We went to the 9/11 memorial with some friends of mine.
Yeah,
it was served with, and like, you know, just kind of took in the environment because I went to New York prior to that with Tyler Vargas Andrews to UFC 309. That was a completely different trip. 2 bros.
That's a very different vibe.
Going to UFC, and he has his wheelchair, but it's got like a cattle car thing, like where his foot goes. So like, and everyone was like panicked because they didn't know where he was going to go. And the Justice League showed up. Trump, Elon, RFK, Tulsi, all of them showed up, and the place just exploded. And
yes,
it was wild. There was literally only one guy who booed, and we were talking to the dudes next to us, and they're like, "Yeah, he's liberal. We just kind of ignore him." But it was a good time. It was a good time watching, and then John Jones won the fight. It was sick, and he did the Trump dance.
That is a good dance.
It is a good dance.
It's got a nice vibe to it.
Yeah, speaking of that, who'd you vote for?
We can't move off just yet.
No, we can't move off.
Do you have a favorite spot for pizza? Like for first timers that are going and visiting New York, like is there a staple? Are there certain spots where you just recommend like, hey, if you want the New York experience, you got to check out X, Y, and Z for pizza?
You cannot go wrong with an artichoke slice of pizza.
What?
Artichoke is the name of the place. But there is also a slice at Artichoke that is an artichoke, and it is just a sloppy mess.
Artichoke?
Artichoke pizza. Mm-hmm.
Is pineapple and sardines a good one?
What's the place called?
Artichoke.
Oh,
it's the
that's right.
name of it.
Artichoke. Oh, wow.
Ooh, look at that. Just a...
I love that you had like
sloppy.
a reaction to it. That is sloppy.
Yeah.
Oh, look at how it just falls off.
Look at it.
Mm-hmm.
You're being serious. Artichoke pizza.
Very good.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't think I can.
The diabetes.
I don't think I can.
But you get your greens in there.
You get your greens in there, though.
So I lived in the city for a little over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
After I left Long Island, I went to the city and just ate all the pizza pretty much.
Yeah. A lot of people say Joe's. I've eaten at Joe's. Thought it was pretty good. But
Joe's Pizza? Isn't that like all of them?
Didn't like completely blow me away.
I can't remember where the place it was in New York in time. Is it off
Joe's
Times
is great.
Square?
Love Joe's.
Oh, let's
Look
see.
at the undercarriage.
One bite.
Such a genius. Just absolute. I mean, just there's so many iconic things he says. 8-5? 8-5, I might book a ticket.
You didn't eat here?
No.
Pretty good.
We went to another place. I can't remember. I'll have to ask Christy. She knows, but like it was an 8 rating. But
Okay, so artichoke pizza. Where else are we going?
artichoke pizza. What else?
I got a weekend there. Where am I eating at?
Oh boy, where else in New York City? Okay, so I love Max Brenner's. That's me. I love a good Max Brenner's day. Absolutely. It's a chocolate place. It's basically themed around chocolate, and it's in Union Square, 14th Street. Just wow! Look at that. Look at all that chocolate.
Malone. Is that how you say it?
I think so. That's it.
It's like a chocolate factory.
It is. So Willy Wonka Day in there.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, go to Max Brenner. Enjoy that food.
We went to
Dang.
frozen hot chocolate place. You know what I'm talking about? Serendipity.
Okay.
We went there. That was a place the girls loved. I didn't know frozen hot chocolate was a thing. Juniors we liked. There's a few different places. I get it. Like I do understand
New York.
the appeal of it. Like there's way too many people. It's insane how many people live there.
No. New York, that's the beautiful thing about New York City.
Okay,
is
explain it
there's
to me.
so many people. It's just they're everywhere. They're like you're on the subway. They're bumping elbows with you.
Nightmare.
It's never ending stream of people. Just different types of people too. People you want to see. People you don't want to see.
I mean,
All the people.
but it's constant. Like that's it.
It's like what it is it's an assault on your senses.
Yeah.
A constant violation of your eyes in a lot of cases.
Yep.
You know, there's right here we're saying like, oh, that girl's attractive. Wow, that one's really not. And it's like hitting your left and your right eye at the same time. Mm-hmm. That's the thing I love about New York
Gets
City.
real physical out there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Especially the dudes in the AirPods.
There's every shot of New York City you ever see, you're kind of like, oh, I feel like I can smell that. And not always in a good way.
I thought my PTSD was in a good spot. Then we hit New York, and I was like, "No, it's not."
Yeah, yeah. It's so
danger. And my kids and my wife are like, "Bop, bop, bop, New York."
Yeah, I was in the Army National Guard, and when I came back, I went straight back to school in New York City, and so it was
not
this
advise.
weird. And I didn't even have like a crazy tour like you, but still, you come back and it's just weird that you're walking and there's people are not 3 to 5 meters spread out, and you're on patrol going to the bars doing the bar crawl.
Yeah,
and it's just you'll get the right whiff of like garbage from the street that New York is very known for, and you could almost feel you're like close your eyes and feel like you're right back home in just north of Baghdad.
I mean, but I heard you guys finally learned about trash cans up there. That's one of my favorite clips of all time.
Who told you that? I refused.
The mayor, like, he did a demo of how a trash can works, and I was like, it's 2024.
It's like a G.I. Joe PSA.
Have you seen
G.I.
it?
Joe, guys, put your trash in the garbage bin.
Yeah, New York City mayor trash can work. Yeah. He held a press
Actually,
conference.
he's pretty based. He's a good dude.
No, he's cool as hell, but it's just like he had to convince the city to be like, guys, we can't just dump our slop outside anymore.
Zach, did you bring me on here just to shame New Yorkers? Did you bring me here to...
No, I just love it. Look at him. And that's how it works. It's also the smallest trash can I've ever seen.
Playing some gangster music after he does that, like, yeah, mic drop moment.
No, yeah, he's like, look, we got him in black, we got him in green,
animals,
we got him in
put
blue.
your trash in the bin.
In my mind, he's like holding the workshop, and he's like, we're gonna put trash in the bin. They're like, whoa, 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 not in my New York.
Yeah.
The area that they picked out too, because he just comes out from around.
That looks like the mayor's mansion or whatever.
Is
But
it?
how are they supposed to smell it then? What if?
See, you're the one dogpiling, dude.
Yeah.
See, like, I just thought it was hilarious that it was a press conference moment.
Yeah, no, it is funny. Actually, that is amazing.
Yeah. He's like, go Knicks and check out this trash can. I'm on the Knicks right now. I hear they're doing well.
Yeah, they're gonna close it out or what?
It looks like it. I'm only on the Knicks because Lasan Al Gaib's promoing them. Timothy Chalamet. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
He is a good looking guy. I could say that.
Yeah, anyone can say that.
I'm confident.
That's
enough.
Lasan Al Gaib. He's the one who's going to lead us to the promised
Oh
land.
no, Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, Lasan Al Gaib.
Oh,
That's his name in Dune.
okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I watched part 1.
What?
Got through like 10 minutes of part 2, and I
Download it, watch it on the way back home. But there's like photos of him and Kylie Jenner.
I quit smoking weed about a year ago, and I
Oh.
just like I couldn't get into Dune anymore. I can't get high anymore.
Did you forget how?
I've maybe it was 2 years ago. My brain is so shot.
Maybe you should stay off of it. No, it's just there's these photos, and I made a meme out of it, and it's him like looking at the game. Right, he's like locked in on the
Yeah.
game, and I'll send this to you, Blas. But it's Kylie Jenner just looking at him, just like lost in him, and he's just like staring at the game.
Wait, was this from this previous game?
Yeah, it's from the previous game.
I
I made a meme out of it, and like the top of him, it says Buffalo Public Schools. And then I put above her head, it's like me and all my autistic friends who want to protect children. Like, it's pretty good. Yeah, that photo right there. Go to the right.
Right here?
No, it's the one that says down bottom left second row left of your pointer. That one. Look, not a kid. Like, get a girl that looks at you the way she looks at him, and he doesn't even have a clue. He's
You
like,
could get it.
he's like, yeah, whatever. I'm here to watch basketball. And she's just trying to get his attention. He's like, dude, we're here for the Knicks. I don't know. He's a pretty funny kid, and he's a great actor. I appreciate him. He loves New York as well.
As one should. Beautiful, beautiful city, beautiful people.
But it's so beautiful you had to go to protect it. And you had to join the Army. And what year was this? Did you graduate high school and go straight into it?
I did my first year of college, and then I dropped out of college to enlist.
Hell yeah. I did a semester.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? You go there and you're kind of like, this isn't, I'm not like being fulfilled.
I felt like a dumb movie, if I'm being honest. Like I felt like I was like, this isn't for me. You know, I'm out. I'm joining the Marines. It kind of felt like that when I did it.
Yeah.
But it was very accurate. I wasn't going to make it. Like I didn't want to do it, and I wanted to go on a great adventure, and college didn't feel like that great adventure to me.
So I went to art school for my first year. I was in film
Really?
school, and I'm with like a bunch of artsy people, and we're like doing Edward 40 hands, which is when you tape a 40 with duct tape.
At art school?
Oh yeah, art school kids go hard.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you heard
Oh,
this?
they're dropping like tabs of acid and doing all the blunts straight to the face.
Yeah, this sounds really cool.
It was amazing. Well, and there were several points when I was in Iraq, and I was like, I should be
doing that
with like art school broads right now. What am I doing here?
Art school broads?
It's a whole category of broads.
We should bring back broads as a term.
For sure.
We should
It's
bring
got to
it
make
that.
a comeback. It's got to make
they
a
love
comeback.
Women
it.
love that. When you go up to a girl, if there's a girl that you are trying to woo, just be like, hey broad, you know, what's that broad doing? They love it. Yes.
Cappy dating advice. They love it. Hit him with a broad. What's up, you
Maybe it
broad?
just resonated with my New Jersey broad.
Broads
who I
is a
love.
good one.
And,
Dames.
Oh,
Look at that dame.
Yeah, you're going to attract a certain subset with that type of language. But so yeah, I'm doing that, and I'm a very, very conservative guy back then because my dad, like my parents split when I was very young, like 11.
I'm sorry.
And thank you. Thanks. No, I am now over it. But it actually was very, it was.
What was the hardest part?
The hardest part was like my dad wasn't around a ton because when your parents split, like you get the Saturday and Sunday with him occasionally. So like the time that I would spend with my dad a lot of times, he'd be like driving me to karate or he'd be driving me to a baseball game. And that was like the half hour that I saw him that day.
Hang on. What type of karate did you do?
I did Shirinjuru, which it's like a combination of like I was very young, so I'm forgetting, like Shotokan, it was a combination of judo and
Shirinjuru.
Shotokan.
Why can't you pick normal karate, son?
Oh, so sorry.
Judo, BJJ, Taekwondo.
It's kind of like Taekwondo, judo. It's a mix of a couple of different forms.
I got it.
I was only a green belt, and it was in high school, but and it was to fill time essentially to keep me busy, so that I wasn't getting into trouble.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he's driving me around, and we would listen to, like one does, we were listening to talk radio.
Okay.
Listen to some of the hits like Rush Limbaugh, and I was fully bought in. Like fully bought into Rush Limbaugh. My dad 100% loved listening to hours and hours of Rush. And so, it's 2007 and you just hear him get on and be like, we need to flatten Iraq. We need to glass that friggin' place.
Look at
they turned that place into a parking lot. And I was 100% on board. And so
not entirely wrong.
I'm sure. So I'm the only super conservative guy at art school in this very liberal art school place. And we're having pounding drinks and I'm like, yeah, we should be in Iraq. It's the right thing. And this other art school kid is like, what are you talking about? Like,
dude,
Iraq War is a disaster. And if you believe this so much, like, why don't you join and go over there? What are you doing here at art school? And I was like, shut up, man. You don't know what you're talking about. Rush Limbaugh told me that it's the right thing to do.
Hey, man, stop talking like that in front of the broads.
If I pound both of these 40s, you're going to the war.
Dude, when these 40s come off, these hands are going to get thrown, dude. I'm going to show you weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah. But you ever had a moment in your life where someone says something and you have to kind of take a hard look in the mirror and reevaluate? And sort of like, okay, maybe they have a point. Maybe this guy is telling me something I need to listen to, and that wasn't the reason why I joined. Like I had already been thinking about joining, but it was one of the things that made me think a little bit harder about it because I'm like, yeah, maybe I was so young and stupid that I'm like, I'm able-bodied and like I could add something to the Army. I could be of use to them.
Hell yeah.
And not realize like, I could be a warm pulse for them. But I was also watching obsessive amount of 9/11 footage at the time. I was getting a little bit keyed in on watching 9/11 footage. And I would just sit in my dorm room and get like really pissed off about seeing this 9/11 footage on YouTube.
I'm not laughing at 9/11.
It's funny. No, it's
I'm
funny.
laughing at the idea of you crushing Rush Limbaugh at the height of his powers.
Yes.
And then you're like, let's wash it down with 9/11 footage.
Yes. You again.
You were weaponized.
Right. Yes.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like Rush back then, he literally, I think he had
It's
like
no different than what happened to you watching freaking Marine videos in Iraq.
Dude, I'm a patriot. Don't you dare say that. No, I was watching Live Leak at that time. I just thought that shit was cool as hell. Like, just a bunch of guys being like, "God down front, boom, boom, hold me when I'm here, love me when I'm gone."
Yeah.
Sorry,
you wanted to stack some bodies.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
were like, I don't care if it's right or wrong.
You're like, I want people to be free, and I'm like, they can be free when I'm done with them. You know? Oh, shout out Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
No, it's just funny. Like, we're the first generation that had like real multimedia propaganda thrown at us. Like, when you think about it, like,
That's such a good way to put it.
they used to just have the radio and it'd be like, well, the boys are overseas doing what they need to do, and that's when you need to turn your cans into bullets and take care of the troops. You know, buy war bonds, and you just turn it off. But like, that's not us. Like, there's TV shows, there's radio, there's news, and it's all just like hammering you. And then the internet, it's like a tidal wave of just stuff.
The
Like,
talking heads are screaming at you on Fox, saying what you should think and how you should think it.
yeah,
And
I'll do it live.
Yeah.
O'Reilly's looking at you, and he's got that look. Dude, O'Reilly was in this game too. You know,
his cadence, I'll believe anything he tells me.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why they were all monsters in real life.
Yeah.
Like Rush has taken so many opioids he couldn't hear at one point.
And I would talk to my dad in the car, and we would, because mainly what we would talk about was politics.
Yeah.
And I would say, because I was always kind of like, is it the right thing though, Dad? Like, should maybe we just like leave at some point? And then he would just kind of say like what Rush said, but in a different way. I love my dad. He's a really smart guy, but this was kind of a transform. This was, as you would say, a canon event in my life.
Yeah, it's unescapable. It always happens in every timeline.
It really does.
Yeah, like you can't. But and he like looks at you and he's like, "We could leave if we were fucking pussies, but we're Capaludos. We finished the job. WMDs, IEDs, we don't care.
Yeah.
We're Capaludos." Is that how he said it?
They're not Catholic over there. What do we care?
Hey, shout out to the Pope, American Pope. Shout out, dude. We're back, dude. USA's back, dude.
Oh, hell yeah.
These colors don't run. These colors don't run.
But that was kind of how I went from art school to the Army.
You never stood a chance. I don't think any of us did.
No.
Like, it was just like thing after thing after thing after thing. I even thought about this recently. We went to the movie screening for, what was it called? Brothers After War.
Okay.
I see this man, gorgeous, basically shirtless, goatee, dark hair. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Go
Marine, handsome, Rudy. And I see him.
He's so
fucking hot.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, maybe it is on a spectrum. And then I like stopped for a second. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it can change with time. And then like, I'm looking at him, but I couldn't help but think about hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Whoa, where's that? Oh, they did an article? Look at that. Look at that gig. Tyler, his lovely fiance, Mr. Sinise, myself, me and Tyler didn't plan the shirt thing. That happened by accident. Oh, yeah. We did not. I literally got out of the car and I was like, dude. And of course the handsome Blas. But it was just crazy to see him, to think that in the earliest part of the war, because he was in First Recon, I believe. Yes, First Recon, where they were literally inventing how to fight counterinsurgency operations. That Generation Kill had come out and documented that whole thing. But like that guy who was there in the moment, like literally as we pushed across into Iraq, like he's there. And like, it just kind of hit me that like, he's like the first Marine to go in to Iraq, and Tyler is the last Marine to leave Afghanistan. And the whole moment was just like, wow, it's crazy to be here to see all these things that have happened. It's just hard to even imagine it. But like, I look back on all that stuff, I'm like, at the end of the day, because I've been trying to reconcile like what I did over there.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what'd you fight for? And like stuff that like they think that like real gotcha moments.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always say, like I didn't fight for any of that oil or whatever. I fought for my friends.
I mean, the way I always, when people say I fought for oil or something, I'm like, what else is worth fighting for? Like, what else is worth dying for but oil?
Yeah.
Oil is what powers, especially back then. Back then when we weren't the biggest oil producers, like the Middle East, how do you get to work? Do you walk there? Do you bicycle there? No. What is worth more than oil? If there's something worth going to war for, it's oil. Well, you're going to go to war for something else? That's terrible. That'd be messed up if you were going to go and fight and die for something other than oil. And I remember it really ticked me off because when I got back from Iraq, I went back straight to school and I went to one of the most, again, like I put myself in the places that I'm most counter with people.
Yeah.
And I went to NYU and I'm in some economics class there and the teacher's saying like, the reason in an economics class, he's going on and on about the Iraq war and how we're there for oil. And it's just pissing me off to my core that I feel like this guy's just pontificating about friggin' politics and stuff in an economics class. And it really bothered me. Yeah. And I at the time I wanted to tell him it wasn't about oil. It's not about oil, it's about freedom or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back on it, I'm like, it was about oil a little bit and good. Good. You got to go to work. You got to heat your home.
Yeah.
For a reasonable price.
And the main thing is in Afghanistan there wasn't oil, there was heroin. So I fought for a cooler thing when you think about it. So like way cooler.
Oil and heroin? America.
I mean, what do you think was fueling Rush back in those days?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I don't know what they were talking about the opioid epidemic because that stuff was leaving left and right.
Oh my God. That's why he wanted the war so bad, so he could get his cheap opium.
Yeah, because he was deaf. Like when he died, he had like hearing implants, because he had taken so many pain pills that his ears had been like, we're done here. They closed up shop.
But so for me, like what you asked what kind of Cappy Army is, and part of what I've always wanted to do with the channel and the content that I make is kind of make a source for, because back when we were joining and stuff, you couldn't pull up YouTube and look up a video on any of this stuff and get kind of different perspectives or different points of view. So what I've always wanted to do is create something that talks about these kind of subjects and gives you all the information on both sides and not just one perspective and not assault you with like an agenda, basically.
Yeah, you have no agenda other than to entertain and inform. And I mean that in the very best ways. Like
entertain is the top priority. And then if someone learns something, so be it.
Yeah, because like you said, you deployed to Iraq. Was that not a good time?
That was a learning time. It was my year abroad. My year to study abroad.
Yep.
In Iraq. It was just north of Baghdad. It was the occupation phase of the war. I always say it was like the part of the war because you're going around, you're kicking in doors, and you're basically waiting for like an IED to either kill you or not. Wasn't like it's not. There's no big front line. It's not like Ukraine. It's a coin operation. It's a counterinsurgency mission.
You said 2008?
2008.
2008, yeah. It was kind of scaling down then, wasn't it?
And into 2009.
Yeah.
And it's like the year before basically the last year. So it was still Operation Iraqi Freedom. And it still sucked. We had one guy get killed, KIA, in our company. And we had almost every other day, like an Iraqi police officers getting killed or wounded. Every other like week. But the brunt of it was taken by the Iraqis.
Because that was that handoff time, right? When
yes. So the big push was, they're
ready. Yeah.
I lived on, they were not ready. They were ready to get us killed. Yeah. I lived on a JSS, a cop about the size of a football field that was in the middle of a town just north of Baghdad.
That sounds sick.
We do like patrols, do raids. It was not entirely what I expected. I walked away from it thinking, I'm like, oh wait, all that stuff that I heard, maybe it's not all true.
Yeah.
But also like I didn't come home and I'm like, I'm gonna, throw my medals over the fence or something.
Those guys suck.
Fuck those guys.
Those guys suck.
You don't have to be like ashamed of your service, but you can be realistic about it.
No, but what I always say is they never have a plan or like even an idea of how to make things better. They're just like, bleh, and they like throw their medals and their uniform that they honestly never fit in when they should have. So like they're just like disgrace. All that stuff is like honoring everyone that came before you, right? And so like it's right up there with stolen valor with like my agitation level because they're using it for the same thing. They're using it to try and garner something, some attention, some love, some likes, and like they use it as a way that makes them a subject matter expert in a field that honestly they probably weren't a subject matter expert in. They were most likely a non-combat role. Like almost all of them are non-combat roles. Like
and even the combat roles doesn't necessarily make you some kind of like,
doesn't even mean you'll see combat
in foreign affairs and expert in like international relations.
You must not have been online lately. There's a few guys who are stretching their credibility really, really thin and just reading Wikipedia pages. You're not one of them. You're one of the ones I like. You, Preston, and a few others, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and I try to say off the bat, like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I talk about these subjects, but I don't talk about it with like from a place of authority. Like,
you should.
This
bump the numbers up.
This is just what we should do.
Here's the thing. Yeah. But you're back home. You're I don't want to say you're weaponized, but you're de-weaponizing, right? So you're back home. You're in NYU. Obviously, you just wanted to punch a liberal. There's a common thread where you keep coming back to like liberal target-rich environments, and you're like ready to throw hands.
It's so funny because I wouldn't say that I'm like super conservative or very liberal
or an American. Yeah,
I'm pretty middle of the road centrist, fence sitting kind of.
I'm not your subscribers. You don't gotta lie to me. You know what I mean?
I mean, so
no, I am too. I'm actually more moderate than anything. I think it's funny to pretend to be like super red.
Yeah,
because people believe it.
Right.
And
yeah.
Like,
but if you go, here's how it is. I think with anything, like if you go somewhere that's super liberal, it's almost going to bring the conservative out of me because I'm like, this is so far gone liberal. This is just unhinged liberal, and it brings the If I went somewhere that was super conservative, I would probably not that I'm like maybe I'm a bit of a contrarian, but being in that environment. You do want to punch a little bit. It was back at NYU when it was like people could go and tell on you if their feelings were hurt. It's like the safe space places there. NYU is a trip, man, a real trip.
So walk me through it. Pretend like I didn't go there. Tell me how it works.
This was at the height of the, I guess you could call it, the safe space time in 2010 through the 2015.
Okay.
So people would get, whenever discussions would come up that would get heated, people would get offended. And it was at a time when if like you offend somebody, they could go like tell on you. People are very sensitive there, I would say.
Did you get told on?
No, not me personally. No.
But your friends would be like, I told on.
It's that
Brian.
kind of environment. Yeah.
Interesting. That's not the college experience I had.
No. It shouldn't have. To me, college is a time where you should be able to say stupid things because you're young and stupid. That's the time to get it out there so you can test it. So you test it against other people in your environment and they can say, hey, Chris, that was pretty fucking retarded what you just said. Yeah. And then I could be like, oh, maybe it was.
Yeah. I got you. Now I went to a small Christian university and had like 300 veterans there, and looking back on it, we kind of ran that school. It was pretty sick.
It's not.
They let us do whatever we wanted.
I felt like a fish out of water. Felt, one of the only veterans there. I was probably a diversity hire there. They didn't accept my application when I applied, like out of high school. They didn't want nothing to do with me. But then once I wrote some sob story essay about I learned so much about diversity when I was over there.
He's like writing it with a
yeah.
My name, Chris Cappy.
Yeah, they're like, what tax write-off can we get for having a veteran here?
That's the thing. That's the thing. They saw that GI Bill money. And they're like, wait.
Yes.
They moved you to the front of the pile.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, I know the school I went to, we made millions of dollars for them. Like we made money. And some people are like, oh, well, you go to school for free. And I'm like, we're what makes your school cheaper until the school realizes that. Then they raise the rates. But yeah, like it's what keeps those tuition costs down. So you spent 4 years there?
2, because I transferred. I went from Brooklyn College to then to do transferred in, did the last 2 years. at
Finished out
NYU,
there.
Finished out there.
Bachelor's.
Really, the only difference in education that I felt like between the state school that I went to and to NYU was it's just different connections. Like everybody's somebody's kid
Yeah.
there. Like there was a bunch of people whose their parents were like super famous.
Yeah. Name 'em.
And it
Can you name any of them?
I could because I really liked this one. I worked a bit with Jack Quaid. He was in my year, and I got to like shoot some of his short films. What a just nicest dude ever. Really amazing and talented person.
The guy from The Boys?
And there's a bunch of this. Yeah. Really,
His dad.
really good dude.
His dad's here all the time. I see his dad all the time.
Really.
Yeah. He's like friends with John Daly. I see him at like veteran events, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Amazing guy. But
Text him right now.
The only
and say what's up.
The only thing, yeah, we're best friends still.
Yeah.
The only thing that I felt like NYU really did for me was it opened up some doors in terms of like I got to work at the Daily Show with Jon Stewart for a few years.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane. That was the best time, the only time the Daily Show was fun.
Exactly.
Another friend of mine worked there during that time. Her name was Justine.
Oh, I know Justine.
Yeah, she was a Marine officer.
Mm-hmm.
She was there. So I did the Mission Continues, the veteran nonprofit.
She's still an officer, I think.
She's still in. I did the thing where they would hire you at a nonprofit and you'd do like a 6-month fellowship, and they had like a 97% hire rate after that.
Yeah.
But
Justine's amazing.
he loved
close with
hiring
her.
veterans. John would love hiring veterans.
That's the only reason. That's why I got it.
Yeah.
Because so I was still in the Guard at the time, and I was doing a domestic mission. It was during Hurricane Sandy when I had my interview there.
Did you come in uniform? You're like,
Dude.
oh, it's all I had.
So I was activated when it was just so happened to be when my interview was, and I didn't go in interview in uniform, but I went. And so since there was a blackout in New York City, no power, so I couldn't print out my resume.
Oh,
So-
is this when everything flooded?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole friggin' city was like shut down. And I asked my captain, I was like, can you please just let me leave for 2 hours to go do this interview? And they didn't want to let me, but they finally did. And so I couldn't print out my resume. So I wrote my resume with a pencil on a piece of paper.
On a Right in the Rain?
And they thought that was so cute. And they were like, oh, you're here because you're serving right now with the hurricane.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I got to get back to the front lines.
It's nothing, really. It's the least I
would
could
have
do.
shown up in uniform and like, I'm
Well,
so
I had
sorry.
My bag. I had the bag. I had the bag. That,
You got to have at least one flair
Yes,
item, dude.
yeah.
You got to sell it.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Stewart ready for my interview?
and they're amazing people. They're the whole crew there, just incredible people. They gave me a chance. They hired me as a production assistant, which is like basically you're getting coffee, you're getting props, like it's the lowest of the low at the totem pole of that show. And after interning there for a semester, then I finished school, had no job. Was like, I am so screwed. Why did I should not have done film. Like I should have learned an actual skill at that moment where I'm like, I should have done something with my life. I should have maybe studied something useful so I could be of use. And then fortunately they were like, do you want to work full time as a production assistant? So for the last 2 years of Jon Stewart's run and into the first 6 months of Trevor Noah, I worked full time.
So you were there with Kate too then, right? Right? Kate from Barstool. I think she was there too. She went on to Zero Block 30. I think she was there.
No, she...
Kate. Oh my God. Her. I'm 99% sure she was there too. 99%. She's a Marine as well.
Maybe she might have been there before
I know Justine
I
was
was there.
I know
yeah.
Justine was
Yeah. Justine I worked with like every day. But Jon Stewart is
One of
an
the greatest.
amazing boss to work for. Like knows everybody's name the first day, is the first person in and the last person to leave. And really what I learned at the Daily Show from working there was like how they take something that seems very creative and fun and jokey, and how you make that an actual repeatable format, and how do you plug and play it, kind of the way that they turned it into a machine. It's like a content kind of machine. You make it a little more predictable. You know, what's the process for that?
Yeah.
Okay, there's pitches. From the pitches, the writers take it, they do the research, they put that together, and then from that, John goes into a room and he rewrites like all of it and makes it his own, basically.
Yeah.
And, you know, seeing that whole process of how they do that was, I think, very useful for me. Learned a ton at the Daily Show during my time there.
Well, and what was genius about the Daily Show at that time was there was never a left-leaning or a right-leaning. It was just news-based.
John's super left-leaning, but he would go after people on the left.
He would go after issues, John's very well known as being like
super genuine. Even though there was a lot he would say like that I disagreed with, you always know that he's coming at it from a genuine place and like wants things to improve, and at the end of the day just like hates corruption.
Yeah.
Super genuine. Yeah. Really good dude. So
one of my favorite new clips is the podcast he has. And the guy, have you seen this? Is the guy breaking down the stuff that Doge was getting rid of. And he's just like awestruck, like a bomb went off. It's a 30-minute clip. It goes line by line.
Not the same after he left.
What? He's not the same?
I mean, no, he came back and he's still as
they
hot
brought him
as
back.
ever.
He brought him back because the ratings have died.
Yes.
It's not hard to understand. Like, I'm not going to put you in a position to say anything bad. I'll say this. I think Trevor Noah is a good comedian. At least my memory of him is that his takes were funny and his premises were good. But what made Jon Stewart during that era so impactful is that he never talked down to people the way that the Trevor Noah tenure has. Like they're belittling and disrespectful, and which I think is a hilarious, wild way to try and gain new audiences, to talk shit to everyone and be like, well, if you weren't so fucking dumb, Republicans, or like they're literally just talking down to it. And obviously, even Comedy Central is like, we can't do this anymore. We have a viewer a night. We've got to bring back the A-team.
It's got to be hard to walk into a show that's like, oh, it had already an established thing, and then to try to change it, people's expectations are going to be all over the place.
But why do that?
It's like
it was printing money. It was printing money, and he's like,
because I think he knew he couldn't go in and just do the same thing.
He could do his version of it, though.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he was also great to work for. Yeah, I don't know.
But that was early on was different than like when COVID happened. That's when all of them shifted. All of the late night hosts shifted, and he was one of them.
John Oliver would have crushed it in that role, and I still enjoy John Oliver's show.
Yeah, his stuff's been great, but like all the late night hosts lost their minds during COVID. Like every single one of them.
I feel like we all did a little bit.
I didn't. I had a great time. I made myself into a meme. I got to hang out with my family more than ever. Life was great. Like
during the COVID.
Oh, dude, it was so great. I got to see my family more than ever.
Yeah.
It was the first like real peek behind the curtain of like all of these people really identifying with these positions of power and authority, and then using it whatever way they thought they should, without any consequences of what that might be. And it was very telling to me. And I think all of late night has taken a hit since then. I don't know anyone who watches that stuff.
Stephen Colbert used to be amazing, just iconic. And then now his show, it's harder for me to watch. It's just it's not my cup of tea. God bless anyone.
I don't think it's anybody's cup of tea. It's just people being like, well, Trump.
During COVID, I was working at Task and Purpose, and I used to go into the office in Midtown. And then once COVID happened, then I went back home. And I wouldn't say I had the same experience as you, where it was like awesome. It was more for me in New York City, especially, we're like locked down. So I got a little bit weird, I would say, just in terms of being isolated at that time. Because like you couldn't see anyone, especially in New York City. You couldn't see anyone, go anywhere. And I was in this really tiny, tiny apartment with my girlfriend, now wife. But like I feel like I'm still not the same from like that time.
Yeah, all of y'all did that. We did not have that experience. We're here in real America. Like, yeah, we're like, go indoors. We're like, yeah, we're indoors, man.
It does something to a person's friggin' psychology. You make them
It
like,
broke community.
it broke my brain a little bit.
It broke a lot of people's brains. I mean, there's still people who aren't right because of it.
Yeah. No, I feel a little bit better now, but there are definitely some people who, yeah, it's hard to come back from that.
During that time, news outlets in particular found a way to weaponize information on the right and the left in ways that is like permanently stuck with people to this day.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more nuance or objectivity in conversation anymore. It's like the right does this, the left does that. And I personally feel like it's all boomer talk. And so I don't check in on it. I can't check the news. I know too much about it. I know that like most of them are owned by Scripps. The rest of them are owned by Cumulus Media. Like it's all just a game to sell ads. And so it's hard to even find people that are telling the truth, which is why I have so much respect for you and Preston and others who do the work you do, because like God's honest truth is you'd make a lot more money if you were carrying water for one side or the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'd make a fuck ton more money if you were like,
I see the incentive now. I see now why. So I used to be like, why does Fox News and MSNBC, why do they double down on one side? Wouldn't they make more money if they're like, I'm going to provide this honest and truthful perspective, and this is the only place where you're going to get an unbiased? No way.
That shit doesn't sell my pillow ads, bro.
I see it because I have access to so much analytics and data, and I see certain videos that I do, for instance, like the cartel videos, let's say, they bring in a lot of people who are Republican. And I'm like, if I were to just double down on that, you make a lot of money and there's a huge audience there. And also you're protected in a way because you now have a side that if something were to happen or whatever, there's like your team. You're on a team and there's benefits to being on a team for sure.
There is.
And so for me, it's constantly, I cannot do it because that's not what I want out of life and like what my kind of mission is. I don't want to double down and, I want to talk to as broad an audience as possible. I want to not alienate 50% of people. And I want to see if it's possible to create not news necessarily, but like a show that gives you sort of both perspectives. But I see it now. I get it. I'm like, I see why they do it. It's a perverse incentive. It's because the way social media and advertising in general is the system of advertising incentivizes doubling down and disincentivizes. Because let's say I make a video that brings in a lot of liberal audiences, and then you try to make one that is about like, oh, conservatives are right about this. You couldn't do that. So it's just this very disingenuous media that landscape that we live in, because even there are people, I guarantee there are conservative and liberal creators who have things that go against the grain of their team, and they won't talk about it or do it because they know it would be like career suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just some thoughts that are up in the old brain, just kicking around up there.
Well, no, it's the truth. It's the truth. Like we've had some people come to us and talk to us about leaning not just one side, like whatever side we want, actually. And, I'm doing this, but Blas is a part of this too. So like I kind of brought it to him as well. And the long and short of it is we said no. Because like it was an offer from the right and it was an offer from the left. And both of them, it's like kind of like, what's the right? It was a facade. Like I could tell that I was just going to be carrying water for something I didn't want to carry water for. And the last thing I want to do is jeopardize what little credibility I have. I mean, I can't continue to like go to war with the VFW and Buffalo public school systems. Like at a certain point, it's also just exhausting.
It's exhausting, and you become inauthentic in the process of doing it. So that's another thing that you'll experience when you decide to pick a side, because like you said, there's going to be things that you agree with. And if you don't call those things out, the people that are watching you day in and day out are going to see that you're avoiding that or skipping around it. Then you become no different than the mainstream media, which is why they came to you in the first place, is because they hated the mainstream media.
Yeah.
And they weren't getting that authenticity.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had some candidates reach out to us and just, I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure this is the thing I want that to be, because like they have their talking points, and the long and short of it was when I spoke to them, I was like, if we do this and we couldn't make it work, I was like, if we do this, the number one thing I'm going to say is like, don't tell me or my audience who to vote for, because no one is listening to that anymore. Like, it's just too demeaning. And they were like, well, you know, and I'm like, I understand that you think, and there's some weird lame data set that you have to support this that isn't accurate, that you paid a guy to, you know, finesse numbers into making it look that way.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is the American people have atrophied from being told what to do. Now we just need to be told what is the truth. And we've gone so far away from that to where, like, again, Buffalo public school systems, if you check what like the news anchors, the ones who are like WKBW, the ones, they do this like live show after they do their broadcast. And like their first critique of like everyone on Unsub was they were burping and being foul and all this other stuff. And they were literally talking about a podcast in a disingenuous way, because they feel like they're the subject matter experts. They feel like they're authorities and that they should be trusted because they're a journalist. And Fat Electrician, Nick, said it best. He goes, people listen to you because you have a job. People listen to us because they want to.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
That is, he put his finger on it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Nick never misses. It's so annoying. It's so, like, I only talk to him about things that I know 100% now, so I can always be right. Otherwise, he's like, well, you know, actually. And I'm like, oh, dude, stop. You're so boring. No, he's the best. But it's true. Like, media is having this crazy shift, and you were on the forefront of it in the modern era, because you went from being a guy, because I remember when you started at Task and Purpose, you're just a cute little Italian boy, and he's just like, bippity bopple. I don't know.
I was just getting up there going, boppity boo.
Yeah. It's me, I'm out here. Yeah. Look at him. Look at that guy with a knife.
Just a Cappy. Oh, Knife Guy was one of my favorites.
Yeah, Knife Guy.
Yeah.
Knife Guy.
Yeah, me and Patrick Baker just let me
shout out Baker.
Love Patrick. He just let me I was like, hey, can I do this?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, just toss it up. Just make it and then put it up. No company lets people do that.
My favorite part is that Task and Purpose had like such little idea of what a YouTube channel was. They had no idea that they were giving you like the keys to the Millennium Falcon.
No idea.
They were like,
they should not have done that. In hindsight, what were they doing?
I have no, like they gave you like full access to a brand they had no control over.
Well, the words that they told me at the time, they were like, yeah, you can do whatever you want on YouTube. We're never going to have a presence on there. It's never going to be successful. And I was like, okay, all right.
All right, hang on. Let me update this password real quick.
I'll see you in 6 years.
Yeah, see you in 6 years. Well, and you did it. And so like, Task and Purpose had always had a good reputation. Zach Iskell, is that how you say
Zach
it?
Iskell.
He had started
Fallujah, veteran, badass, amazing dude. Him and
fellow
Patrick.
cool Zach, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Zach's always are.
I'm always nervous when I meet another Zach. I'm like, they better be good.
Are you ever let down though?
There's a few of them.
Oh.
Yeah, Zachary Taylor Thomas. What a loser. I'm just kidding. No.
But yeah,
And then I don't want to, we'll get into why you left, because you told me stuff that you signed an NDA about. We're going to break it here. No, I'm just kidding. But
they should have had me sign an NDA.
Yeah. But what I like about it is I got to watch you grow, as the rest of us did. Right? Because you went from Knife Guy to correspondent.
I went from
news.
When I was first hired there, like I was mainly doing video editing for them and just kind of putting stuff together. And then it grew. I was that person that like my life was a mess when I first started there. I was like, I had issues, man. Like I have an addictive personality, let's say. And I do a bit too much of the much. If there's like a way that I can, I just go hard. I do everything as hard as possible, including and not to exclude like drugs and alcohol. And I was just a mess and not the type of person that could manage a team of people or even think about really anyone other than myself. And through that role, I feel like I was able to grow, not just like as in my career, but as a person, to become like a better person. And like by the end of it, I was managing a team of people and was, I felt like it sounds cliche to say, but I do feel like I had a sense of purpose by the time I left.
Yeah, I mean, and just from the outsider looking in, like when it was first launching, it was like skit based, kind of like, and it's you're really kind of finding yourself here, and it's cute, all the documentation, like here's my car, here's my house, like because it was just, I remember people told me about like you should check out Cappy, and I was like, yeah, he's cute, and I was like, yeah, it's cool. I just remember my first thought was there can't be anyone watching him at Task and Purpose. Like that was my first thought was like,
because I would do some weird things on there.
There was no one green lighting you.
Yes.
They just didn't know.
They did not know because I would say some wild shit on there.
Yeah. No, that's an understatement, but I don't want to say that because like you're on like mainstream media, and I actually know why it was happening. It's because they were buying everything else at the time. It was all the different companies were combining and stuff. This is all public knowledge.
Yeah.
And stuff. And it was growing as an entity. And, you're just there. Like they're like, is Knife Guy still going on? But you're like talking about what, Indian girls in the military? Was that one of them?
No, I was talking about, I was starting to move into geopolitics and talking about more serious stuff. And it went, there was no way they could police me because I was putting out probably over 2 hours of content a month. And it's like, who are you going to have watch that? Or how do you have time to even have somebody like, okay, this stuff? So it was all just like, they trusted me because I knew the lines of what would be okay to say and not okay to say, kind of.
You basically used their lack of time against them.
Oh,
you just flooded the system.
Because there was one point where they wanted to okay scripts and stuff. And I was like, okay, here's all the scripts for this month.
Yeah.
I sent them like a list of, it was like malicious compliance. I sent them like hundreds of pages of scripts that I was
knew
like,
they would never read it.
Because I knew once they got that, they were going to be like, oh, I saw other stuff to do.
I have a meeting in 30 minutes. Yeah.
Like,
God, that's
you don't ever want to read it again? Okay.
You sure? You want me to keep sending them? I can.
I was like, let me please let me send them. And then I would
love to help out. Yeah.
That was the last time they asked to see a script again.
Dang. Look at you. Ran a whole psyop against him. And how long were you there?
6 years.
6 years. And then you're like, hey, it's time for this Capiludo to Levo. Time to go. Cappy's Army's on the move.
It was time because it comes.
Can you talk about the growth during that time in Task and Purpose? Like, what did you take over the YouTube channel at? And what was it when you left? Because I feel like that's a good indicator as to what you gave to that company and the hard work that you put in. But it also teaches creators about, there's not always going to be like instant success. There's a grind. There's a method to it. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Totally. Yeah. When I started there, it was 800 subscribers on the YouTube channel. And because I remember we did like a 1,000 subscriber video, and the first videos I was putting up were getting 200 views, 20 views. It was bombing. They were doing terrible. And I was not a natural at this stuff at all. Mm-hmm. And my on-screen presence was terrible. Like I was so stiff and I sounded terrible. And people would tell me, they told every single thing about me that was weird or wrong or that I was doing or sounding.
You read the comments?
Always. And the comments are what saved me. The comments are 100% the feedback from the viewers saved me. Because a lot of people, they'll read the comments and they'll get the wrong thing out of it. And if you read the comments and you're, like looking to get...
If you look at yourself objectively as well.
Right. So if you read the comments and you read in between the lines and you get the actual constructive criticism and you can actually mine some valuable things out of it. And that's what I did. People were saying, you suck on camera. And so I was like, okay, my initial instinct is to think, no, I don't. You try doing it. And then I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna eat some humble pie here, and maybe I do suck. And so what I did was I started reading how do you suck less on camera? Basically, I typed in, and one of those like WikiHow articles came up, and it was like,
don't be like Cappy. What the fuck?
But I put a lot of work in, like a lot. I put a ton of work and effort into, and sacrificed a lot to do it. Like, stopped going out every single night and getting sloshed until 4 a.m. because I was working on scripts and researching.
Good.
And for the first 3 years, I was a one-man band. It was like just me, the camera, the green screen, and that was it. And then once it started to become really profitable, because a lot of YouTube creators, they have to do that part of the journey without a salary. And like,
yes,
I was so fortunate, and I'm so grateful for the fact that they paid me a salary, and it was extremely low, but it was way more than most people who come up through the content creation have to do. And
which is zero.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can be very demotivating to be, you're creating something and you're getting nothing or losing a lot. And it's like very difficult because the way content creation works is it's kind of exponential. And once it hits hard, and it kind of goes exponentially up. But if you can't make it to that point, a lot of people can't. So I was very fortunate because it didn't become profitable probably for maybe 7-8 months, maybe a year even, before it started to break. I would say what would be like breaking even, and covering like the next generation squad weapon, covering the XM7 rifle, made it kind of go viral a couple of times.
Yeah, he did a bunch of weapon stuff.
Weapons,
it was like,
yeah, because that's what I used to talk about with my squad back in Iraq. We would just kind of bullshit about like guns or different weapon systems that we like, or talk about different militaries that we like. Oh, those guys in the IDF. Do you think they'd be able to take our special forces guys? And we just have these
Deadliest
like
warrior,
right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like, we just have like hypothetical questions.
They would not,
right? Fight me on it. So I wanted to basically capture what my experience. I wanted to relive, because I missed that community, and so I wanted to build a community of people who were interested in some of the same things that I'm interested in. And then once the war in Ukraine happened, the geopolitical stuff took off. There was suddenly a lot of people became interested in what's happening around the world. And so I started covering more of that stuff. And that was another big turning point for the show, was at that point.
I have a question. As the war in Ukraine in particular, it seems like it was a content creation event. Or an inspiring for military creators. Is there any type of pressure that you feel one way or the other when it comes to covering something like that honestly a lot of people are covering, that as nicely as I can think to say this, I don't trust everyone who's covering it. I don't trust anyone who's covering anything, just to be honest. But like that one in particular, like people have like flooded the internet with content created around it.
Yeah, to a point where you should be skeptical. You should be skeptical of any. And this, I can't pronounce anything for anywhere around the world. You'll see town names in Ukraine. I butcher all the time, but you should be skeptical of people's motivations and what their agenda is. And I've always tried to like. Ukraine for me, it's maybe now at this point, like 10% of the stuff that I cover. I talk about so much other stuff that it's like, for me, Ukraine has always been, I cover it from the perspective of like, I'm an American and I want what's best for America. And I support Ukraine to the degree that I feel like it is also in the interest of America. And like, I'm not going to personally be someone who would ever put the interests of Ukraine ahead of America, because I don't think anyone in Ukraine would put America's interests ahead of their own. Like, you just wouldn't. Why would you? You'd be crazy to do that.
Yeah.
And I went there and I spoke to those people in Ukraine and the soldiers, and we have this, I think, mutual respect because we are both, for our country, our own country. They're for Ukraine, I'm for America, and we have a lot of interests that align and some that don't. And so, they're a partner and America works with them. I hope that the war ends very soon. I know they hope the war ends soon. And yeah, I guess I don't feel any way to like cover it. I'm not, I had a bunch of people reach out to me and be like, we're going to raise money for a rocket in Ukraine. And I'm like, I'm not raising money for weapons in a foreign country. Like, it's not what I want to do. I'm not.
Money doesn't seem to be the problem over there either. Isn't that, like, we're funding that war a lot. Like, and I know, I'm sure there's things that we wish they had more of, but like, it just seems to be, from my perspective, like, it's always something that can be used to fight against Russia, but like, we forget that Russia is unlimited and we pretend like it's not. Like, we put sanctions on them. They said, fine, fuck it. We'll just sell to everyone else. Like, they haven't really missed a beat. Am I wrong in that? Like,
they've been more resilient from those sanctions than we thought they would be.
Right? But no one talks about that because then it sounds like you're like a Russian apologist. Like, the whole thing is like, you have to blindly support Ukraine and blindly go against Russia when like there doesn't really seem to be like someone who's like outside of you and Preston and a few others who are like, let's talk about this objectively and honestly, as opposed to like Slav Ukraine. Like,
yeah.
Because like I have two of the friends that I've served with who are trying to go there right now, who I'm actively trying to talk out of it. But they're like, if we don't do it, Russia. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea what you're doing. It's not like what we did. You have no idea what you're signing up for. And to be honest, it terrifies me.
It is a very, very different war. It's like you want to go there and basically be an insurgent because that's what you're going to be. When we were in Iraq and Afghanistan, we were hunters. If you want to go to Ukraine, you will be hunted.
Yep.
You
that's
are going to be
literally what I'm trying
hunted.
to tell him. And he's like, well, Russia. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're watching. And you like, this is not what you think it is. There's no glory to be found in war to begin with, but definitely not there.
It's instead of IEDs, it's artillery, it's mortars, and it's a roll of the dice. Like it's an FPV drone you're gonna end up on Funker 530.
I literally keep sending him stuff being like, this is your best case scenario is that one of these kills you. But that's what you're fighting against. So what, you're going to shoot out of the sky with a shotgun?
And you're not going to get casevaced.
No.
Not for 20 hours.
You're not going to get
sit
treated.
There with a tourniquet on for 20 hours, bleeding in a trench. And it is, that war is, when I saw it there, it was like nothing, the scale of it too. It's just insane. The scale of that war, the amount of death and destruction. And you're going to see just regular normal towns that look like European towns just getting bombed at night. Every night they're getting hit with drones or missiles. It's that whole country is
under occupation.
Seeing that scale of warfare, like when I went to Kursk, it was trucks for as far as the eye could see, carrying soldiers, supplies, tanks going to the front and back, and wounded people. It shocked me.
Well, and that's kind of what I wanted to lead into is like you went there firsthand. You saw how it really is over there. I'm not going to say it feels unwinnable, but I don't ever felt like it was a winnable war in the sense of like both of them are just trying to get to a place of negotiation at this point, right? Like that's the desired outcome.
I feel like you could, I mean, this is a W for Ukraine. Like there's a giant, Russia wasn't able to conquer them right next door.
Mm-hmm.
That's a military blunder and just a strategic gaffe. They weren't able to conquer even Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Ukraine can get a peace deal at this point, it would be in their interest. I felt like I needed to go there because I'd been talking about this conflict at that point for 3 years, and it's very difficult to feel like I could really get a handle on or understand what high intensity warfare is like, because counterinsurgency is so different. And I felt like we're moving into a period now of near peer great power competition and possible warfare. And I wanted to understand the scale of it. And I wanted to understand how the sausage is made. I wanted to really understand the anatomy of how that kind of war works.
Yeah. And
like they're all living in houses. They're all, if you're a regular infantryman in Ukraine, we would go and pick them up for their shift to infiltrate to the front. And you pick them up at like an apartment building and you get 6 guys into a regular truck and you go infiltrate to the positions. And it's probably, I'm sure it's the same for the Russians too, because they can't live on a base or some shit. They're going to get missiled. Like there's so many different, everything from the Kazovac to just how you get to the positions and rotate, is so different.
Isn't there a ceasefire right now or something?
They're working on.
Hang on, May 15. Isn't there some type of ceasefire?
They're working on one, I thought. Do they agree to it?
I don't know.
They're pretty close.
They're pretty. I mean, my perspective, and this is just me from like an American standpoint, is I don't want anyone to be, in war whatsoever. But especially because, we just got out of a 20-year war. Russia and Ukraine pops up. Israel and Hamas pops up. India and Pakistan are flirting with ending everything. I think Yemen launched rockets into Israel the other day. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I don't like it. It seems like the whole world is really couldn't care less about starting war wherever they want to.
Yeah, it looks like they're in Turkey right now doing peace talks as of 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
There's live updates coming in as of 40 minutes ago.
As of 40 minutes ago
on
May 15th.
Even if they don't reach like a peace deal, it's very possible that the war just kind of fizzles out and they end up there's a DMZ there.
Yeah.
And because neither side is really able to push forward, it seems, at this point. So it's very possible that it just kind of, the intensity of it slows down.
It's because it seems like everyone's like it's a muscle that's atrophied. It's tired. Everyone's tired from these never-ending conflicts. And, and I understand that everyone's like, we send money that stops us from sending U.S. troops and all the different things they say. And I don't want to send U.S. troops to any more wars.
Well, Europe is starting to take over. I think the best case scenario is Europe steps up to the plate and starts providing the aid and the money and all of that, because it's their like backyard and it's their responsibility. And you
took it from me. Why haven't they been doing that till now?
Because there's also a lot of benefits to them being reliant on the United States for defense. And since the end of World War II, that's been sort of the agreement that's been in place. It's like, okay, we will do the security guarantee and there'll be a lot of benefits for us in return. So it's kind of a mutually beneficial situation, but times change. It's been 60, 70, 80 years since World War II. Like, it's time now for things to change, but the only way change will happen is a lot of times it's painful. Often change is very painful and scary, and like you don't want to do it unless you kind of get shoved off the cliff and forced to do it. And I think at this point, Europe has a little bit been forced to do it, because otherwise, they're just going to keep taking the free ride on the defense. Like,
it's not our job.
The United States,
it's like literally not our job.
No, yeah, and they would say that too, though. Europe
they would say
thinks
that too. It is not America's job, but we will not do work because we are stinky and do not understand air conditioning. Like, I don't want to hear their opinions on a fucking thing, dude. Like, the guy, I'm sorry. Like, we sent Olympic athletes there and they couldn't have air conditioning. So, I mean, I understand. Grow up if you get upset about this. But, like, the reality of it is I don't feel like it's America's job to solve everyone's problems. I do understand that we are the superpower, hard stop. But it's okay for JV to play a few rounds. Am I wrong? Like, I'm tired. Yeah. I don't want to hear about another country. I want them to do other stuff. Like, obviously, we're not going to let, like, corruption and, like, tyranny reign supreme. But, like, we can't be everything to everybody.
No.
Like, there's a whole ass continent that's just sitting around eating baguettes and doing whatever they want while we literally fly over them to fix their problem. I sound like Rush Limbaugh right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but
I don't think it's a extreme position at all to want Europe to step up to the plate. Like, I mean, Russia, it's kind of turned out that they're not the big threat we thought they were. They got stopped by a much smaller country. If they had invaded Ukraine, taken over all of Ukraine, and then you could like make comparisons to World War II, and you could say it's
which is
like
what
Hitler
everyone
on the way.
does that. Yeah, everyone says that.
Maybe that was his design and his plan. I'm sure it probably was what he wanted. Why wouldn't you want that if you're Russia? That's what you want. But it didn't work out that way. It didn't turn out that way at all. So
but here's where I'll play devil's advocate.
I was about to do it. Go.
Did they not conquer Ukraine because of who backs Ukraine? So do you feel like they held back a little bit, or they're holding back? Because if they went full assault, like we're taking this shit,
you don't think so?
You don't think so?
Absolutely.
You're talking about the king.
No, wait.
But you're talking about
Russia. If Russia wanted to capture all of Ukraine, full stop.
The United States wouldn't let that
100%.
happen, though.
Well, wait. Are you saying
I'm saying
that Russia didn't?
Yeah, I feel like Russia held back.
No
Russia's
way.
holding cards back.
No.
Because they know that the United States.
There's a ton of evidence that they wanted to capture all of Ukraine. Ton of evidence. So
why isn't that
the
mainstream?
soldiers who were insulting into the first type days of the invasion, they found Class A uniforms on all of them. They found Class A. They thought that they were going to be parading through Kyiv. And why wouldn't they? They had annexed Crimea in like a day. Why wouldn't that happen again?
When Obama let them walk right into Crimea, is that what you're talking about?
They expected that they were going to walk right through Ukraine. Everyone was saying this is like one of the most corrupt places in Europe. That's true. So if you're Russia and you're seeing all of your other successes that you're having in like Georgia and in annexing Crimea, they thought they were just going to walk right through. They were stopped in part because the United States has been sending special forces into Ukraine to train 27,000 Ukrainians on how to launch Javelin missiles. And
our advisors, you mean?
Yeah, we've been doing some pretty sketchy stuff there.
But we've always been doing that. Africa.
Yeah, we stayed doing that.
Yeah,
we did that
right.
Yeah.
You're talking about green. That's how Green Berets make their living. Like,
right. It's literally
we're the hand behind them.
The CIA has been in Ukraine.
USAID. Yes, I understand what you're talking about. Yeah.
They openly say this, that they've been there, like, and you could look at it two ways. That's a really that is a provoking Russia kind of thing to do, or you can look at it the other way, which is like those countries there do not want to live under the thumb of Russia. You look at the history of what the Soviet Union did to those places, and if you lived in Ukraine, would you want your family and your children to be under Russian rule, or would you want to be closer to what the West is like? Like, no brainer. You want to be closer to what you want your kids to grow up under Western philosophy, like way of life.
Yeah, I totally organizing
understand that.
NSYNC, KFC,
hell yeah,
Burger King, McDonald's. Yeah, I get it.
Right. Yeah.
My thing is like
Russia wanted to capture Ukraine 100%.
So Ukraine took Russia's best shot.
1,000%. They've lost over 500,000 casualties.
Russia has?
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't even know it was that much.
I thought that was the total amount.
Yes, total Russia has lost around 500,000. They've confirmed at least 85,000 KIA.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
And these are confirmed through there's a group, Mediazona, that looks up. They go and they confirm in the local newspapers in Russia, they'll find the obituaries for these soldiers. They'll look up the payment that go out to these families. 85,000 confirmed. So it's likely much higher KIA. That's what's been confirmed so far.
I mean, that is a tough look on Russia. If they've legitimately given Ukraine their best.
You don't lose 85,000 people in 3 years and that not be your best shot.
See, my position has been that Putin's the king of all spies. He's the master manipulator. He was in the KGB forever. And so I'd always thought that he hadn't given it his best shot for something else, because the right hand moves, the left hand does something else. But what you're telling me is that it actually was his best shot.
Totally.
Which I guess is a better outcome.
That's what the evidence suggests.
That is a much better outcome.
Yeah.
But then I ask, if we give it his best shot, so if
why
we're
don't
saying
we wipe him off?
if we're saying Russia gave us their best shot, or gave Ukraine their best shot, that would make them very vulnerable right now, which is why you believe they're engaging in peace talks then.
I think if
And I'm not trying to put
Russia
words in
has
your
the
mouth, I'm just-
advantage, Russia is definitely at this point, they weren't able to capture all of Ukraine,
Yeah.
but they are slowly pushing forward. Ukraine is on the back foot. They're in a defensive position. Ukraine is losing way more people. They're, have way less equipment, way less soldiers. Soldiers are deserting. Like, Ukraine is a giant mess, don't get me wrong. But Russia, sorry, what was the question again?
I'm saying, like, do we believe right now, since Ukraine essentially has taken Russia's best shot,
Yeah.
which is that why Russia's now starting to come to the table and engaging in peace talks?
So I'm not certain that Russia, it's not necessarily in their interest to sign a peace agreement right now. I think they're going to keep trying to push. I think if they don't seem like they're trying to reach peace, then it would look bad for them
Right.
on the world stage.
So they're going to try to get out of this saving face and looking like they didn't essentially cowered out, I guess, or...
It's tough to say. I'm much more better at analyzing like the war side of it than because peace negotiations in general are a totally different type of analysis.
We're not even privy to any of that information, like what goes on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Like, we have no idea what kind of under the table deals are going on, or promises are being made. And
so just because, what I'm saying though is, just because Russia gave it the best shot, didn't take all of Ukraine, doesn't necessarily mean that it's in their interest to sign a peace agreement right now, because they could be looking at the battlefield and seeing, hey, we're gaining territory.
Gotcha.
Or maybe they're looking at the battlefield and thinking, if we push for a couple more months, maybe Ukraine's entire front collapses. Like, it's tough to tell.
Yeah.
I've been educated, which is what I wanted
No,
to
I love it.
accomplish.
This is such a good conversation.
Yeah, I hate that I wore a pimple patch the whole thing, though. We're all right.
Did you forget it?
Yeah, I left it on my face.
Oh, I didn't.
Thank God we film in 4K, so you'll be able to see it. No, I don't give a shit.
So, and this is a question I wanted to ask way early on before we even got into like the war on Russia and Ukraine. But during this time, right, you're noticing that certain content is hitting with the audience, and the YouTube is starting to grow. Task and Purpose is gaining more and more followers, and bringing more revenue to the business. Are you actively negotiating based on numbers and revenue that's being generated, or did you stay at your low rate that you came in as?
No, fortunately.
Or did somebody recognize that and be like, hey,
So I got to a point where basically they started saying, hey, Chris, you should sign this. We need a talent agreement signed.
Break, clear the net, attention all posts, stand by to copy. Now that I've got your attention, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to help us continue to grow, it's really simple. There's a few things you can do. You can like, comment, subscribe wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, drop a rating and review. Every bit helps to make sure that we can keep doing the After Action podcast and get these stories out there. If you're looking for other ways to support the channel, go to veteranwithasign.com. We got shirts, we got merch, we got stickers, we got more. We even got a bunch of ways for you to save in the affiliate section. Check it out. Now let's get back to the episode. In defense of them and you, neither one of you knew what would happen. And
it could always, here's the hard part about it is, like, it could always go under. Suddenly, it's getting a lot of views right now, but like, what if they agreed to pay me way more and then 2-3 months later it bombs?
That's the first thing they look at. Be like, well, he's getting X. Why are we spending, why is it making Y? Yeah. I think it was something that it was an underutilized asset for them. And then once you grow it to a place where it's like a titan, you're like, hang on, who's in charge over there? They're like looking at I think it's just Capiludo. And and so it's been really cool to see the way it's shifted now, because you've gone from being at Task and Purpose and you've given marching orders to Cappy's Army, and they have followed you in droves.
We are now big enough. The Cappy Army is big enough to invade a small country.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Which country are you looking at? Name them right now.
Some people have been saying that we've been getting some sideways looks from Argentina. Whoa. And it's beautiful this time of year.
It is. I've been there. I love that country.
Right?
I love it. Buenos Aires.
Wouldn't it be even better if it was another state? Just part of.
Now we're talking. See, no one talks about, can't just be Greenland we're taking. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah.
Let's get some more
Greater
stuff.
America needs to expand.
Let's put a few more stars on that flag.
Not even 2 weeks.
It's been overwhelming because I was having panic attacks. I'm like, that just
goes to show, like, your time and your effort and the work you put in at Task and Purpose. People loved what you were doing enough to where they followed you to, you doing your own thing now. So
I mean, you're creeping up on 500,000 subs, bro.
In 12 days.
That's incredible. You definitely didn't put shorts on your channel the way some people did. No, I mean, because it really is a testament to your work. Because, again, the space you're in is highly crowded. I'm just going to say this, right? The whole, like, I'm a veteran talking about, and no one does it the way you do it. In this, I don't want to say goofy, but you've got this kind of like earnestness about you that's like really affable and like genuine to like a point to where like I never feel like you're going to be demeaning or disrespectful or more importantly biased, which is really all you can ask for, right? In a place, again, where we said it before, where you could make a lot more cheddar if you were like, here's what the Republicans are doing to keep America safe and here's what the libs are doing to destroy the world, or vice versa. You're just a guy who's telling the truth all the time, being handsome doing it.
I have always wanted to create a show that doesn't speak down to people and I do think goofy is a good word for it because I see a lot of what was in our space that was performing very well was a lot of like special forces, tier 1 type guys. And I love that content. And I felt like there was also space for the kind of guy that's just your average, regular, everyday infantryman. And my sort of experience in the military was it's a lot of dick jokes and it's a lot of silliness. And I wanted to include that part of it. And I have to remind myself every so often, it's just not take myself so seriously. Mm-hmm. And because really, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I just want to learn more. I just want to learn more about this stuff. It fascinates me. I want to understand the world better. And I don't want to ever become like preachy about it.
No. And it's noticeable. And you have, like I said, this genuine earnestness about you. I think that's rare. I honestly think it's remarkable. You haven't become jaded, and you're just like chain smoking after Ukraine, being like, there's no point, you fucking idiots. We're all gonna die.
I lock all that stuff away in the vault. I put all the trauma away.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. Until I turn on some 3 Doors Down and go out to the garage and have a few Camel Crushes. You catch my drift? You know what I'm saying? Hold me when I'm there.
Yeah, sometimes I'll put the shower on and just cry there, let it out.
Yeah. What are you doing, babe? Nothing.
Whatever happened in Kursk stays in Kursk.
Cursed from Kursk. Sorry. Well, as we're getting ready to close, and again, thank you so much for being here. God, it's been a long time coming. You're my favorite Northerner. There's like 5 of you that I like, and Rich is the other one. That's about it. No, I really, really appreciate you making the journey down south, and it's been an honor here. Any saved rounds or alibis you got for him, Blas?
No, I just wanted to say thanks for the transparency, man, and like getting to know you while you were here. I mean, we could see why people continue to follow you even through this episode. I mean, I think you showed us a lot of, your fun side. You can be serious. You could joke around and unfiltered, but also still be authentic, man. And thanks for coming on, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah.
I love doing these things. I love coming out, talking with you guys. Beautiful, beautiful Nashville.
Beautiful town.
Yes.
Some say it's the best.
We'll get you to move here eventually.
Yeah. Everyone I've sold on the town has moved here, so buyer beware. I mean, you can film anywhere. Do you want to film in Jersey?
I hear that you guys can have firearms here. That's nice.
Yeah, I'll give you a gun if you move here. I'll give you whatever one you want. It rhymes with Schmagmato. You understand what I'm saying? Well, thank you so much, and thank you. Shout out Cappy Army on YouTube, cappyarmy.com or anything. What's the website?
Cappyarmy.com as well.
Cappyarmy.com, and what are you on X?
Same on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on there under the same handle.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next one.